What's going on, everybody? Marley Cross 316 back with another comic book flashback. Today we are looking at Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 29. This issue's title is Stolen Identity. That's right, we're going to be looking at an imposter Spider-Man. Someone is posing as Spider-Man. We're going to have to figure out who it is. Is it a new villain? We're going to have to figure all this out. Today's issue is brought to you by Bendis, Bagley, and Thurbert. They have continued to put out some awesome stuff here for this series, and they have another great one for us to look at today. We start out the issue off with Ben Urich. He's at this First National Bank, and he's basically been having trouble with his ATM card, and so he's having someone look at it, and this woman recognizes Ben Urich as that he basically works for the Daily Bugle, and he wrote that piece that took down the Kingpin. And so this woman basically says that he's been brave, he's like a prince, and she's like, taking a man like that, the Kingpin, did you win a prize for that? And then all of a sudden, while they're talking, there's a big crash. Something's going on. Well, it just so happens to look like Spider-Man is robbing this bank here, as he basically says, you hear me? This is a robbery. You want to get out of here in one piece? You'll do what I say. And so what the heck is going on here? We're going to have to figure all this out as we continue this awesome story here. We have the First National Bank here where it's taking place, and he basically says, now I want everyone to lie down on their bellies with their hands behind their heads. So this Spider-Man here looks like he's acting like a criminal. He then asks for the manager. This guy speaks up. His name is David Rosenberg. He punches him like twice here and throws him through this window and then webs him up. Ben Urich can't believe what the heck is happening here, but he also notices something particularly strange here. It looks like part of Spider-Man's outfit has come loose. So this doesn't really look like the real McCoy. And so what is going on? Has Spider-Man reverted to crime? Well, we see here that J. Jonah Jameson thinks so, as Ben Urich returns back to the Daily Bugle to announce this news to everybody, that he was an eyewitness to this. We see that Peter Parker shows up on the scene, and he's like, what's going on, Betty? And all of a sudden he notices that Spider-Man has been seen. And if that's the case, that can't make sense because Peter is Spider-Man. So someone is posing as Spider-Man here. And we're going to get to the bottom line as to who this is. So we see Jameson starts to have this big argument with Ben Urich. Ben Urich says that, well, I'm not entirely sure it's the same Spider-Man as the one who fought Dr. Octopus on TV. And as they continue to talk here and spout arguments here, we see that Jameson's basically saying everybody turns eventually to crime. All these big time superheroes, they'll all turn eventually. And it said, I don't trust a single one of them. So Ben Urich says, fine, I'll write the front page. He then, you see that J. Jonah Jameson looks at Peter Parker. He knows that Peter Parker has been there on the scene to take pictures of Spider-Man, and so he's going to use Parker to get some of his great photos of Spider-Man put on the front page of the Daily Bugle. So the front page of the Daily Bugle said Spider-Man is a criminal. Peter Parker returns back to his house. He doesn't even want to show himself out in public as Spider-Man because of the public awareness that people think that Spider-Man is a criminal. And so we see he's going to take a bus home. And as he gets home, he notices as he's walking down the road and he's getting towards his house that there is a police car parked right outside of Aunt May's house. So Peter Parker immediately thinks that something is wrong here. So he rushes inside. He notices that Gwen Stacy is napping on his sofa. What the heck is going on? We see this briefcase here, or like maybe a suitcase. He then notices that Aunt May is having a conversation in the kitchen here with someone. It just so happens to be Gwen's father. And what we find out is that Gwen's mother, his wife, has basically walked out. We remember from last issue that Gwen was found outside of school and she was weeping because she thinks that her mother is about to leave. Well, that is the case. Gwen's mother has left, and now Gwen doesn't have a mother to look after her. And we see that um, Captain Stacy is going to have to go out of town for something for his job, and he needs someone to look after Gwen Stacy. So it looks like Aunt May is going to allow Gwen Stacy to stay over for a few nights, just to take care of her. And Peter Parker learns this, and he's going to reveal this new information to none other than his girlfriend, Mary Jane. And as you would suspect, Mary Jane Watson is not happy about this news as Peter Parker relays this information to Mary Jane here, basically saying that her mom, Gwen's mom, up and left, and her dad and my aunt are, I guess, friends now all of a sudden. And all of a sudden, Peter looks at Mary Jane, and Mary Jane is like, well, what do you expect I'm supposed to think? First, she's just showing up here in the middle of the night, and now she's sleeping over in her pajamas, and she says it's very inappropriate. And so Mary Jane is not happy about this, and she asks Peter, have you told anyone else? Have you told her that you are Spider-Man? Peter says, no, only you. I've only told you. And so we see that Mary Jane, very upset, walks out of the house. She was going to study with Peter and Gwen Stacy. So Gwen asked, hey, where did Mary Jane go? I thought she was going to study with us. And so while they're studying for, I guess, maybe doing homework or whatever, Peter Parker hears on the news that Spider-Man has been shown, and he's in the middle of this jewelry heist in the Upper West Side, and they're getting all this on TV. Peter Parker asks Aunt May, hey, can I go over to Mary's house real quick? I need to talk to her. So that's the excuse he makes so that he can change to Spider-Man and arrive on the scene so he can take down this imposter Spider-Man. And as he arrives on the scene, the police are out to basically shoot Spider-Man, even kill Spider-Man and arrest him. And we see Spider-Man's like, guys, hello, I'm not robbing anything. I don't even have any pockets. I'm here to help. All of a sudden, the police officer says, take him down. So they start shooting at him. Spider-Man dodges all these bullets except for one bullet connects with his shoulder. Spider-Man then plummets to the ground because he's been wounded, and now he's lying unconscious on the ground, and the police officers are gathering around him. So what's going to happen up next in the next issue? Will Spider-Man be vulnerable here with the police? That's something we're going to have to figure out as we look at the next issue and issue number 30. So I'm looking forward to that. Go ahead now, give this video a like, comment down below what you liked about this issue, subscribe if you have not, and I will see y'all in the next one.